Hi guys, welcome back. It's Will here back for another fight card prediction. We're going to be breaking down UFC Fight Night Japan as the heavyweights take stage here in the main event, as we have a former UFC champion Josh Barnett against Big Country Roy Nelson. Now it's been a while since I made a video prediction. It was UFC 191. I didn't have a great night picks wise in that one. Absolutely horrendous night. Probably one of my worst ones in a long time. But it's been good to have a break from the UFC, as we did have a elongated run of events during the summer there. There has been some decent fight cards since then. We had Bama 22 at the weekend, which was a fantastic card. We had Titan as well, which I thought was a great card. I only watched bits and pieces of Bellator. Not a big fan of the whole kickboxing MMA thing going on. Nice to see McGeary defend his title. And good to see Phil Davis with a couple of stoppage wins as well. But I see this whole card's pretty much come together on the emphasis of, I think it's the Road to Fight Night Japan that they did on UFC Fight Pass between the two coaches there, and Josh Barnett and Big Country Roy Nelson. I haven't watched any of that, the Japanese version. I've never really watched much of the other ones in the past. I will watch about the Mexican one, the Latin America, and the European one, which is on at the minute. Overall, the card is a bit meh. The main event's decent. I like the co-main event. I think it's a good one. Good to see Horiguchi back. Good to see Mizugaki back. Matt Hobar's a guy that's quite exciting to watch and fun to watch. Apart from that, nothing much kind of really stands out in the card here. But this is just a little filler card for when UFC head to Texas the week after for UFC 192, which I'll be making a video for that one probably maybe this evening, or probably more than likely it'll be tomorrow, which is a very fun card there. So I'm going to try and fire through this one very quickly. Not going to try and take too long on it. We're going to be starting off in the welterweight division with Shinzo Anzai against Roger Zapata. Roger Zapata was on that show. I think he actually got beat by like that Stevens guy, Ian Stevens I think his name was, and actually went through, won the fight. Didn't look really great, anything, got took down fairly easily. And against somebody like Anzai, who's a little bit more like that, he'll come forward and he'll put you on your backside. I just think that Anzai, with his a little bit more experience of fighting in the Japanese MMA scene, will have enough for Zapata here. But Zapata should have the advantage on the feet if he decides to keep it on there, which I don't think he will. I don't think his IQ, his fight IQ is particularly great. So I'm going to go Shinzo Anzai via decision. Moving on, we've got Naoki Kotani against Gegard Johnson. Now this fight is, if Gegard Johnson can't win this fight, then there's something wrong, because Naoki Kotani is not a great fighter. He is decent when it goes to the ground, but I watched him with my own eyes at UFC Dublin against Norman Park. Norman Park stopped him. And even in his last fight against Jean Cabral, who is a very high level grappler, and he got submitted by rear naked choke. That's his bread and butter down the ground, and he got made to look like a novice down on there. Gegard Johnson, on the other hand, he is a little bit, his chin's a little bit suspect sometimes. He gets in and out with some nice footwork, throws some nice combinations, but it doesn't take much to put this guy in his backside. He beat Zhang Lepeng last time out. They were in Manila, I think it was the Philippines, and then he got knocked out by Tai Hoon Bang in the third round, and a really great fight at UFC 174. A Canadian MMA veteran who's been around for a long time. I think if he can't win this fight, he should not be fighting. I'm going to go Gegard Johnson via TKO in the second round. Lightweight division, staying in there, we've got Nick Hein against Yusuke Kasuya. I like Nick Hein in this one. Kasuya, I've watched a little bit of, and he's a little bit deficient with his grappling, where Nick Hein is a judoka as well, so I can see him, if he's smart enough to take this fight to the ground. I like Nick Hein in this fight. I'm not going to go too much into it. I think he won back in Germany, wasn't it, earlier on this year in Berlin? But he is fighting out of aka Thailand at the minute, and he's looking great out there. It could be Tiger Muay Thai, in fact. It's Tiger Muay Thai, and he had a really good win over Lucas Sajewski, who's a guy who's been coming up in the European scene, the Polish scene, and he got a very nice victory over him there. Before that, he lost to James Vick. I think this should be a fight for him to win here, so I'm going to go Nick Hein via, I'll maybe see a third round TKO. Welterweight division with Keita Nakamura against Li Jingliang, that's what I'm trying to say. Keita Nakamura. This is his first fight in the UFC since UFC 81. I've watched a little bit on the Japanese MMA scene. Nothing really stands out. He got beat. Was it Rob Emerson? I think it was at UFC 81, and that fight was quite close. Emerson didn't have a great night, but he did enough to get the victory. Jianliang, on the other hand, has got some. He's one of these guys that's just, he throws heavy power, and he did against Diego Lima last time out. Now Lima has chin issues. We've all seen that. He could have won that. I thought he kind of won that fight against Nordin Taleb as well. Beat David Michaud. I think that he's going to knock out Nakamura here, so I'm going to go first round. Once he plants his feet and he throws that overhand right, he actually follows up with a pretty nice body punch as well, and he's got the power there to do it. So that's why I think Jianliang is going to catch him with this here and knock him out. So I'm going to go Li Jianliang via first round TKO. The main event of the Fox Sports 2 card, we have a Katsunori Kikuno against Diego Brandao. Now, Brandao's coming over a win over Jimmy Hayes. So it was a doctor stoppage, which was a bit shitty. It was a little bit controversial, where Kikuno, he kind of trades wins and losses, and he's coming off that loss against Kevin Souza. Now, we all know with Diego Brandao that he likes to come out and he likes to go for it straight away. He's very aggressive. He likes to come forward and he likes to basically knock out his opponent in the first round. And if the fight goes beyond the second round, he gasses fairly bad. But he has been in there with some of the best in that featherweight division. He's been in there with Conor McGregor. He's been in there with Dustin Poirier. He's moved up to 155. So this is a fight really for Diego Brandao to get himself back in the win column. He won that last fight against Jimmy Hayes. There wasn't really much to kind of between them before the injury took place. But I think he's got enough to win this one. As Kikuno, he beat Quinn Mulhern via unanimous decision, which was definitely the right decision. Got knocked out by Tony Ferguson. He ran away from Tony Ferguson and got knocked out. Beat Sam Sicilia via a very nice choke in the second round, and then he got knocked out by Kevin Souza last time out. I just think the times that he has been knocked out, he's been knocked out in the first round. Diego Brandao comes out really quick, really fast, and that's why I just think Diego Brandao is going to catch Kikuno here. So Diego Brandao via TKO in the first round. Moving on into the main card, we have excuse me, Mizuto Hirota against Teruto Ishihara. Now this has been on the Ultimate Fighter Japan scene here. Hirota's been a guy who's been around in the UFC before, and he's made the finals here. I think he went 3-0 in the last skid in the UFC. He lost unanimous decisions to Pat Healy, Rani Yaya, and a very close split decision against Rodrigo Dam. Doesn't really finish much fights. He goes to decision a heck of a lot. He's lost to Shinya Aoki by submission in the past, and he has got a really kind of signature knockout against Ryan Schultz. It was a Superman punch a few years back. That was like 2008, I remember. Sengoku, and that was quite a fun knockout. But he's against Ishihara here, who I've not really seen too much of, but he has the people that he has lost to is Mishinori Tanaka and Yuto Sasaki, who are both guys who are in the UFC and I thought were potentially big fighters in their divisions, and it's not turned out that way so far. He has 7 wins. He's 7-2 record with 7 of his wins come by TKO. His 2 losses, 1 by submission and 1 via decision. I think Hirota's experience is going to come through here. He's going to take him down, put him against the cage, rough him up, transition on the ground, and just kind of beat him up in the ground a little bit. So I like unanimous decision from Mizuto Hirota. Bantamweight division, we have Kid Yamamoto against Matt Hobar here. I think it's a bad fight for Yamamoto. Hobar is a big guy. Oh no, I'm thinking of the wrong guy. I think I'm thinking of the wrong guy here. Yeah, I am. I'm thinking of the big tall guy in the welterweight division. I don't know where that came from. On the other hand, Yamamoto coming off that, I think was it a victory against, no it wasn't a victory. It was against Roman Salazar and it was a doctor stoppage. It was a draw. No contest. There it was there. But before that he was coming off losses to Von Lee, Demetrious Johnson, Darren Yoneyama. This is the guy that really... you can never really tell fighters to kind of retire, but this is the guy who really should kind of take a step back and focus on the fighters coming through the Crazy B gym, i.e. Kyoji, Horiguchi. I think he could, I think he has imparted a lot onto Horiguchi so far, but he can continue to do more. Matt Hobar's coming off a loss to Sergio Pettis. I think that Hobar's going to look for the takedown. He will get it further on the fight, but I think Yamamoto's got enough to win this fight. I don't know who I was thinking about. In the big tall fight, I remember he got knocked out by Tumanov off a double head kick. Can't remember, but that's who I was thinking of. But thinking of Matt Hobar here, I think that Kid Yamamoto definitely has enough to win this fight, and he could do so with a kind of late stoppage. But I like a decision victory for Yamamoto. His in and out skills on his feet are very, very good. Even against Salazar, his output wasn't really too much, but I think he was winning that fight up to then. So I'm going to go Kid Yamamoto via unanimous decision. Next up, we have Takeya Mizugaki against George Roop here. Really excited to see Mizugaki back. I think he's a great fighter to watch. His footwork's very good. He's a really beautiful technical striker. He's got a very nice jab that he gets in and out, and he switches stances very well too. With George Roop here, he is one of the kind of long rangey guys of that bantamweight division. His chin has been tested in the past. We've seen Cub Swanson knock his gum shield out. And he got hurt in that fight, but he's a guy that you've got to watch out for because that range, and he is a fairly decent striker. He is coming off that loss to Rob Font where he got blasted. Before that, he won a decision against Dustin Kimura. It'd be interesting to see Mizugaki kind of come back from that loss against Dominic Cruz. Oh Christ, that was over a year ago, nearly a year ago. Where he got blasted by Dominic Cruz, and that doesn't really happen to Takeya Mizugaki. I actually think Mizugaki can knock out George Roop in this fight. I'm going to go a TKO victory for Takeya Mizugaki halfway through round 2. Flyweight division, very fun fight. Kyoji Horiguchi against Chico Camus. Last time we seen Kyoji Horiguchi, he got outclassed by the featherweight kingpin that is Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson. Got subbed with like the last second in the 5th round. Showed a lot of heart, a lot of grit, but the fight came far too soon for him, like many in that division. This is why I think Henry Cejudo taking an extra 1-2 fights is a good thing in that division, because he can challenge Demetrious Johnson, I believe, on certain fronts. But this is a good fight for him here against Chico Camus, who's coming off that loss to Henry Cejudo in the Mexico card earlier in that year. I thought he actually did fairly well in that fight, in all honesty, Chico Camus. I thought he at least was competitive with one of the best in that division, and this should be a kind of lot more competitive fight. I can see this staying on the feet a little bit more. If anybody's going to take anybody down, I think Horiguchi's going to go for it. I think he will go for it at some point, but he has got that. These two guys have got a beautiful in and out style of striking. Camus has got some lovely leg kicks as well, coming from Rufus Sport. Working with Duke Rufus, you're going to get that. I just think Horiguchi is too strong in Japan as well, in his home city. Kyoji Horiguchi decision all day long. Co-main event, Gegard Mousasi faces off against Uriah Hall. Now this was going to be a decent fight. It was going to be Mousasi against Juan Carnero, Zhucao. He pulled out. Uriah Hall's come in here. He's come off a win over Olawale Bambose. And he gets those kind of fights. He got Ron Stallings, who's not a great fighter. Anybody that he faces that is very, very good, he usually loses to. He should beat Rafael Natal if he was more aggressive. He would have won that fight. Beat Ron Stallings, beat Thiago Santos, beat Chris Lieben. So he's won 4 of his last 5, but they're against people in that division. The only one I'd seen that 4-fight streak there that he's won is Thiago Santos, who is a big hitter himself, throws heavy leather. We've seen that against Steve Bose, and we've seen that in previous fights as well. Anytime he steps up against anybody, and Mousasi is class. He has been class for a very long time. He's been champion in other organisations. He's beat some of the best fighters in the world as well. Took care of Philippou fairly convincingly in Manila. Beat Dan Henderson for a knockout, which was a little bit controversial. Lost to Jacare, he's one of the best in that middleweight division. Beat Munoz, who was clearly on the downside. I've went with Uriah Hall on loads of occasions, and I think I'm actually going to go, there's not too many upsets in this card, but if it's an upset that I think could happen, it's this fight. And you know what, I'm going to go, on some of my predictions, I go a bit too safe. This one I'm not going to go for it. I'm going to go Uriah Hall. Probably shouldn't. I won't be betting him. Let's get that out of the way. But I think I'm going to go Uriah Hall. The step up an opponent will hopefully trigger something in this guy's mind where if he beats this guy, he's got himself a huge scalp in that division and he moves himself right forward. I'm going to go with it. I'm not too optimistic, but I think he can do it. I've got a feeling. I've had feelings in previous events like I did the last one, which didn't turn out great. But I'm going to go Uriah Hall just for shits and giggles. I definitely think he has a chance. That's what I wouldn't pick him if I didn't think he had a chance. So I'm going to go Uriah Hall. I'm actually going to go knockout. First round. Big surprise. Main event, Josh Barnett against Roy Nelson. Decent fight for a main event. Like to see Josh Barnett back. It's been a while. Lost to Travis Brown via TKO elbows coming on nearly 2 years ago. So it's been too long that guy's been out. Against Roy Nelson here. He is we'll know what Roy Nelson's going to do. He's going to come forward. He's going to try and throw that big looping shot. He's going to try and knock you out like he always does. But I think Barnett's too experienced for that. I think he's going to put Nelson against the cage. I think he's going to take him down. He's going to ground and pound him a little bit. You have to be careful with Roy Nelson because he has a black belt in the ground as well. But I can see Josh Barnett not really wanting to strike too much, but will put him against the cage, take him down, will attempt submissions, ground and pound, just position himself. But I can see this being a decision victory for Josh Barnett. And I say Roy Nelson, he's kind of coming off 2 losses, big losses. Got knocked out last time he was in Japan against Mark Hunt. Lost against Alistair Overeem in a pretty shitty performance by both guys, in all honesty. I like Josh Barnett. I like him by decision. So that's my picks for UFC Fight Night Japan. Keep your eyes out for my next fight prediction for UFC 182, which is a great card from the very first fight with Sage Northcutt to the main event. The preliminary card is absolutely stacked to the hilt in that card, in that event. So I'm really looking forward to that. Come follow me on Twitter, WillMartin7MMA, or Will Martin MMA, I think it is. Can't even remember. But yeah, if you want to play counter move, come and speak to me. I'll add you to the game. Go follow the guys at Part and Shot MMA who put out a great podcast. Same with Severe MMA. Check out Half the Battle with Daniel Levy. Also Flying Brian with his picks as well. I'm a big fan of those guys. And yeah, so go give them guys a follow and tell me your picks with this. I'll be back for UFC 192 and I will see you all very soon. Take care.